very good morning all of you. Today I am going to teach you about the fundamentals of object oriented programming in Java. Now this class will be comprises of two parts. First part where I will explain you all the theoretical concepts with my notes in this as provided in this PDF. Right? These are my notes, these are my handwritten notes and it will be provided to you every time whenever the lecture is over such that you can refer it. So these are my notes, which is the handwritten notes which will be provided over you, and the next part, that is my part 2, will be hands-on some coding exercises where I will provide you some hands-on experience that by writing some codes or by demonstrating some codes in Java. I will demonstrate all the codes over here, and at the end of this lecture I will provide you some exercises such that you can refer those exercises and have some hands-on experience with it. So the IDE which we are going to use here is the Eclipse IDE. Now this is how it looks, and this is the one of the most favorite IDEs for all the Java developers, and generally generally to write codes in Java we use this kind of IDE, that is Eclipse IDE. So let's start with some theoretical concepts. Now what is an object oriented programming in Java? Now, and first of all we will target our some fundamentals of object oriented programming. Now what are the fundamental concepts of object oriented? It includes class, it includes what is class, it includes object, and next it includes encapsulation. What is this encapsulation is all about, and then we will talk about what is data hiding. What is data hiding is all about. So let's start and let's try to explore these concepts. Okay, so first we will talk about class. What is a class, right? Please, what is a class? Class is defined as a group of similar objects. In Java, class is created by declaring data members and member function. What is this? This is just a simple definition. In simple words, let's say I have a class of employee. Now what are the properties or attributes of an employee? An employee will has a number, an employee will has a name, an employee will has a salary, and he has some designation. And what are these? Let's say employee number, which is of type integer, as I have written over here, employee name, which is of type string, employee salary, which is of type double, and employee designation, which is of type string. What are these? These are attributes. Attributes of employee. In short, these are data members of the class employee. A class it consists of an attributes which are called as a data members. A class consists of attributes which are called as a data members. A class also includes some functions. Let's say there is a class, there is some employee named Ramu. I need to get data, I need to read his data through, or I need to read his data, or I need to input some data through keyboard. Then I will access through this function. So a class consists of functions. What are these functions? We will explore it over here. So in general example, in our example, let's say we have two types of function. Either it will be a reading a data, that is you just read the data, that is this will read the employee data through keyboard, or either you can have printed the data. Now this will print employee data on the screen. Now please wait a while, we will learn about this. We will do some hands-on coding experiences on this, where then you can understand it more clearly and concisely. Now let's talk about object. What is an object? Now it is defined as an instance of a class. In simple words, say object is a variable of type class. Example Ramu. Now this is Ramu. Here now it will act as a reference. Now in short, a Ramu belongs to a class called employee. Ramu belongs to a class called employee. Now in Java, to create an object, we will require a new keyword. Let's say Ramu equals to new employee. Now when you declare it in this way, let's say return class name. Now this employee is a class name, and this name is a Ramu. Now whenever you just look at our class name with a variable name, it is a reference. Class name with a variable name, it is a reference. So, and whenever you add a new keyword and then a class followed by a name of the class, this reference becomes the object. This reference becomes the object. So now Ramu has all attributes, that is data members, all the data members that employee class has. Now Ramu, and now through Ramu I can access his name, I can access his salary, I can access his designation, I can access his various functions which are available in that class. Now let's talk about more in depth. Now how you can assume it, how it might look into the memory, how you can clearly get a glimpse of it. You can consider it in this way. Or this object, say in short Ramu in memory. Now what kind of memory we are talking about? We are talking about RAM. Now we are talking about RAM. Now this is how it will look like. A Ramu, this is an object of class employee through which you can access his data and access all the function. Now these functions are called as a member functions. These functions, that is read data and print data, this consists of a member functions, right? So imagine it this way. This Ramu, it is referencing or it is pointing to a class which has data members and a functions, and through this Ramu you can access these data members and access these functions. See, Ramu you can access employee number, from Ramu you can access his name, from Ramu you can access his salary, from Ramu you can access his designation, and so on. Now let's say we in a class we combine these data members as well as a function. So we are actually, what we are doing here, we are encapsulating. What we are doing here is the encapsulation of the data members as well as the member functions is called as a encapsulation. That is, it is encapsulation. It is a process of defining both data and function in one unit. Now, and such a unit is called as a class, and such unit is called as a class. Just look at the above example Ramu. So this has some data members. This Ramu example of object has some data members. What are the data members? This is an employee number, this has employee's name, this has his salary, this has his designation. And now to access this data, we have two functions, which is, let's say, read data, and to print data on the screen we have print data. Simple. Now let us try to see some example, and after coming from that example we will talk about data ID and why it is important, because each and every concept of class goes or revolves through this data ID. That is why need to hide data, why need to provide a private access. Now this is where data hiding comes from. So first of all, let us look at the example. Now this is what example is all about. Don't worry about what is this package, what is this package is all about. Just take a glimpse over it, and after that, as the lecture will proceed further, as the lecture continues, I will discuss about package, I will discuss about this member functions, which are nothing but integers, strings and all. So first just simply look at this example, right, which we are going to demonstrate over here. So this is my class employee. Now what does my employee class have? It has some data members and it has some member functions. Now these member functions are also called as getters and setters. You can generate getters and setters directly from the Eclipse IDE by going through source and then by clicking over here, see, generate getters and setters. It will help you to generate getters and setters. See, I have already generated these getters and setters. Now these getters and setters are useful when we are using private access, and I am going to teach you now itself what are private access and data ID. So these are some methods. Let's say public in get employee number and public in set employee number. Now this will set this employee number, right? This is string get employee name and this will return some employee name. This is set employee name, right? This is get employee salary, this is set employee salary. That is how to, that is we are setting this employee salary here. Now this is like get employee designation, to get designation of the employee, and then setting the designation of the employee, and adding and passing a string as a parameter, string employee designation, what will be his designation, right? Either he is a manager, clerk, or peon, whoever might be, whoever he or she is. Now here are these are the functions to print data, and here I am passing reference of a pointer, which is nothing but my employee. Just look it over. Now this is my main function look like. So just don't worry about the static, don't worry about main, don't worry about string, don't worry about args. I will going to cover these and will going to explain these in subsequent lectures. Please bear with me. Hope you will understand it very well. Please listen to this lecture. Everything will be going to clear it. I will going to clear it in this and the subsequent coming lectures. Now let's say if I write class name, which is this employee, right? Don't worry about this public and all. Just don't worry about right now. Let's say I will class name. I have written this name of, let's say, and class name, and then I have declared a variable, written some variable, let's say E1. Now this act as my reference. Now this is my reference. Now whenever I created a new keyword, whenever I use a new keyword, it creates an object of that type employee, and with the help of this dot operator, I can access the functions and the as well as the data members of this class. Now currently I am accessing the functions. Why do I need to access this function? Why it is a good programming to practice? Whenever you need to declare something, but you declare it with the help of functions. Why not directly through data members? Why it is a good programming practice? I will explain you further. And now with the help of this even, which is an object, I am accessing this print data with the help of this print data and provided this reference as a parameter. Now let's run this code. Okay, so here is my output. That is my name is my Ramu, designation is a manager, salary is 45,000, employee number is 100. Right? Now let's uncomment some of this section of code. Let's uncomment E2 section. Let's say there is some another employee whose name is Pyare. His name is Pyare. He has an employee number which is also an employee ID of 200, employee salary of 225,000, and employee designation is clerk. He is a clerk. And let's try to print this data as well. Let's see. If I run this code again, okay. Now here it will print this data. Name Pyare, designation clerk. Now what if I pass here reference of E1? What will happen? Now through E2 I am accessing this function. Now what if I pass the reference of E1 rather than passing a reference of E2? Just be careful. Now these are some of the programming mistakes that beginners tends to do. Just look at over here. So what if I passed over E1 instead of E2? Let's see. It will print data of Ramu. Why? Because through this E2 object you try to access the print data, but you have passed a reference of E1 who is a Ramu, so he will print all the data of Ramu rather than printing all the data of Pyare. So be careful over here, right? Be careful over here. Okay, so let's save this and let's run this again. Okay, so this is how it will going to print. Now let's look at the employee Java. Now let's try to let's dig more deeper into it.